Hello, welcome to Krafting Kitty. My name is Erin, and we have a brand new year. So, we still have a little business wrapping up 2023 on the channel. Namely, the contents of this box. Oh my goodness. For the first time ever in 2023, I collected my yarn labels. I normally don't collect them, I just create and just recycle the paper, throw it away, whatever is appropriate for the content of the label. We do, the responsible thing. And of course, if there's a pattern inside, I keep the pattern because we have to keep the patterns, right? Even if you think you're probably never going to actually make the pattern. I feel a need to keep that pattern. Why? I don't know. I think it's ingrained. I learned to knit when I was around 9-10 years old. So I've been knitting well over 30 years. And it is, I think that's something that maybe got ingrained with me from my grandma, because she was always so excited to have the free label in the pattern band, But anyway, I'm digressing. We have a lot, and this was so fun to go through and count, because it was like, remembering what I made. Like, oh, this Black Friday cotton cake. Oh, that was that. And then, it was really interesting to see what were the major brands. I'll be honest, I absolutely, the #1 brand of yarn I used was Red Heart. There was some ancient Red Heart. This was finishing off, Red Heart Fiesta. How long ago was that made? The decade sweater for my dad. He picked out this yarn from Hirschner's when we were living there by Hirschner's. He just went to the store. They were having one of their... So they have... We're digressing to Hirschner's again now. So Hirschner's has their big warehouse annual sale. If you live there, they have smaller warehouse sales all through the year where they open that same back room. They're not on the scale of the annual sale, but they've got nice little sales in the little back room where they have the same warehouse sale. And so I had been there, and I told Dad they had it, and he went and picked out the yarn for his sweater that then became the decade sweater because it took me 10 years to complete. Anyway, he bought too much yarn because you got to overbuy, right? And thank goodness he did, because what if for the decade sweater I had run out? There's no chance of me getting my hands on this. But anyway, so I had a skein left over. It went into my Sophie. So that's an ancient label. But yeah, so much is Red Heart. I'm going to be really interested. A lot of the ombre Red Heart, Super Saver. So I am definitely a Red Heart gal. I can't even, there's a Premier Puzzle tricking me that it's a Super Saver. Here's a Super Saver. What color was this one? Sometimes it's fun. Carrot. This is in my car project right now. My son wanted a blanket, a red. He picked out red and orange, carrot, and then a red. And then I had an extra yellow left over from my temperature blanket. And I was like, hey, buddy, do you want me to add this to your blanket? He's like, yeah. So now it's got 2 oranges because I had already started my color work. It got complicated just to add this yellow. But anyway, so it's so fun to just have, Monet, this was a hat for bingo. It's just fun to remember what you made. Oh, Claret Fleck. I made my red cardigan out of that. That took me so long. There's another Claret Fleck. Oh, this is just amazing. 4 Claret Flecks. Oh, my beautiful gemstone that I loved. But I'm really, really interested to figure out, Cocoa, Red Heart Ombre, what kind of yarns I'm using next year to see if I'm still hitting Red Heart as hard, if I'm moving away using other things. Red Heart always has Red Heart has a knot the best reputation for being scratchy, but it is a workhorse yarn. I respect it. It's what I learned with. It'll always have a special place in my heart, and I have to respect it. But now, I mean, I've been shopping more. I love the big twist value, and I can get that for such a good deal sometimes. And yeah, I'm interested to see, I gotta put that back in my box, how the trends change, see what I'm using year to year. So the pack rat in me kind of wants to keep all the labels, but I'm not going to. I am on a mission to clean, declutter, tame, organize the craft room this year. So clutter will not be kept. I have a popcorn tin I am going to use in 2024 to collect labels. So it's a little prettier, you know, a little more exciting maybe. I don't know. It was still exciting to use this box. And what was really exciting was I started with a box that was probably about this size. It was a frills box. And I had to, you know, upgrade to a bigger box. That was a very exciting moment. And I'm just here blabbering. So do you guys keep track of your labels? Like what's your usage? I know some people have spreadsheets and they're like super organized. I do have now a dedicated computer for the challenge, or for the channel. So I could get a spreadsheet. I just know I am not super good at keeping up to date with that. Like I had the Grojo Corner book that Ray from Ray's Yarn Addiction so kindly bought me last year, and I used it at the beginning of the year, and I used it hot and heavy for a number of months. And then it got waylaid, and you know, like once you get off the bandwagon of something like that, it's hard to get back on. And so I'm not sure. I think you got to be realistic with your goals. Like I was watching Shannon from Another Yarn this morning, and she's like, I'm not going to promise I'm going to only shop my stash. It's not realistic for me. I agree. It is not realistic. I will never say I'm having a yarn ban for a full year. I might go on a yarn ban for a month or two, or, you know, I'm definitely going to be thoughtful in my yarn purchasing. That's definitely a goal. But I'm gonna buy. There's gonna be pretty stuff that I need. And I totally agree. It is a whole nother hobby. The actual knit and crochet is one hobby. Collecting the patterns is another hobby. And collecting the materials is a third hobby. And it's fun, you know. Finding the deals, searching the sales, finding the pretty new stuff. All of that. I have suddenly become very nasally, and I am very sorry. Oh, please say I'm not getting sick again. Oh my gosh. Okay. Not cool, universe. Okay, but anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the tally for this year. So, I counted this, and Brian was sitting next to me, and he was like, I started counting, and then he was looking, he's like, wow, that's a lot more than I thought you were going to have. And at the end, I was like, okay, how many do you think I used? How many? And he's like, well, before I really got to look at the box, I was going to say maybe you used like 80. And then he got all thoughtful and like mathematical in his head. And he guessed that I would have used 162 balls of yarn. I was like, how on earth did you pick that out? And he's like, well, I think 3 a week. I used 165. 165 balls of yarn were completely used. So these are yarns that I completely used. If it was a partial and I didn't complete it, its yarn band is not in here. So I don't know if that's cheaty or not, but if I use the rest of that yarn ball, in 2024. Then I would put the band in the box for 2024 because I completed the ball that year. Some of these might have been that. Most of them are or were full things. Like I said, I can pick them up and based on the color know what I did with it. This is a Big Twist plush in that Tutti Frutti color. This was a blanket that Bingo was begging me to get this yarn, and I didn't want to get it because I don't generally use that big jumbo yarn. Was this a jumbo 6? A super bulky 6. And I finally bought it for her, and then I was making it, and she walked up and she was like, I don't like it. I was like, oh, just dagger to the heart. But Chomps was like, oh, I love it. So it had a very willing recipient. And then like this Cascade 220 Superwash, Chomps picked that out at my LYS, and I made him a fun hat with that. And like this Ice Cream Big Scoop Cookies and Cream. This I used for 2 projects. I made a baby blanket for a friend who had a baby this year, and then I also used it in my Krafting Kitty Creator Spotlight. It was for OM Granny Squares. I made the shawl using this, and that was so fun. So it's like, this is such a fun walk down memory lane, and like remembering how much fun you had and yarns, new yarns you discovered, like this Cumulus or Juniper Farms Cumulus Rainbow. Or is this? Yeah, this is the rainbow. So these are the cakes. There's also a Cumulus Degrade. I think it was Degrade. It was what we decided at the local yarn shop. That's very similar and beautiful. And there's a Dappled. This is so nice. That's a beautiful, beautiful line of yarns that I just have fallen in love with this year. And then, yeah, like... Oh, and I have to get back to this. But my Mary Maxim yarn reviews, it's just like a walk through the year. And that's fun to have at the end of the year. Reflect and maybe help you get goals for next year. Oh, where is my tally sheet? Oh, it's fallen into the box. Oh, no. Are you right here? Okay, right here, because I definitely want to keep the tally sheet for last year, although I guess I'll have video evidence and proof if I need to go back and revisit what I did. But yeah, let me know, do you keep track? What was your usage? Do you keep track by the yards? What do you think is the most useful measurement? Oh, my phone is yelling at me. It's probably saying, Erin, you've been blabbering about this topic for far too long. Let's move on. And let's go ahead. Let's move on. So my goal for next year is to see if I can beat this. Can I do more than 165 completed entities of yarn? Because it could be a hank, it could be a skein, it could be a donut. Who knows what? It could be a cake. Who knows what it was before the yarn label was placed in the box. You know, some of them were big, some of them were small. You just don't know. Okay, now, I'm going to talk to you guys later. It's Wednesday, so tomorrow will be Thursday. This week is so weird with the holiday, and Chomps actually went back to school today, so that was weird too. He was kind of unprepared, even though kind of starting on Monday, I was trying to psych him up for it, but, I mean, it's hard to realize the vacation's finally going to end. I totally don't remember where I was going with this. Okay, goal. My goal is to see if I can beat that 165. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. Game on. Okay. Talk to you later.